Hello. First book I'd like to talk about is Made in China. It's a must-read. Please read this book so you could see like Christmas coming up or Thanksgiving's coming up, and you could read about all the cheap goods that get imported from China. They're made by religious dissidents. They're made by political dissidents, people that didn't commit any crime, put in Masanjia labor camp. It's called RTL, Reeducation Thru Labor. And when the global community had a heart attack about Chinese Communist Party government's RTL, re-education through labor, RTL, so the CCP, Chinese Communist Party, when you hear me say CCP, that's China's government, Chinese Communist Party, government. And anyway, so CCP was like, oh, we got to improve our image of our disgraceful human rights violations. Warning, warning, CCP violating international humanitarian law, violating United Nations founding charter. Please get a conscience, people, and don't buy everything you buy. Look at the label. If it says made in China, please, I beg you, put it back down. Don't buy it. It's made by slaves. It's people that didn't commit a crime, forced labor. Please, if you look at the label, made in China, put it back down. It's immoral to buy goods made in China. It's unethical to buy goods made by forced labor. They make these people work 14, 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. No freedom movement. They're in jail. Didn't commit a crime. Innocent. So this book right here, this book is awesome. Again, it's a Made in China, a prisoner, an SOS letter, and the hidden cost of America's cheap goods. So a few years ago, I don't know if you remember, a woman in, I think it was Portland. She had some Christmas decorations that were imported from China because the Chinese Communist Party forcing these religious dissidents. So this lady in Portland opened up her Christmas decorations, out, slipped out, was a letter. She picked it up in broken English, and it was a religious dissident who wrote a letter and snuck it into the, the Christmas decorations package. And then it got sent to Portland, Oregon, and she opened it up, and there's his letter saying, ma'am, or who's ever reading this, I'm a victim of slave labor. I'm a victim of, anti-religious CCP government system. These people didn't commit a crime. When you buy their goods, you're being complicit in slave labor. Please stop being complicit in forced labor. Sending your money to the adversary is wrong. A lot of people, when I say, they say, oh, Jeremy, you're anti-China. You're anti-China. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm anti-CCP. I'm anti-Chinese Communist Party government because their no civil rights system is a bad model, is the worst model since the Nazis. That's why I'm making noise. They're good people. I hang out with them. A lot of the information, the lady who wrote this, she's Amelia Pang. And there's other people who, anyway, I'm not bugging out about the people. Talking about the CCP, Chinese Communist Party. That's the adversary. That's the enemy. They're the ones committing trade war against USA and every other country. CCP committing manufacturing industrial warfare against USA has caused 3.5 million Americans to lose their jobs because CCP commits industrial warfare against us. CCP commits drug warfare against us. You see what's going on with fentanyl? 100,000 Americans die a year because of Chinese fentanyl being imported into USA. They're deliberately committing drug warfare against the United States. China is the enemy. Everybody needs to wake up. For 15 years I've been bugging out. It only took a virus to wake people up. Oh, it's okay that they're committing psychological warfare against us. I'm talking about in the past. It's okay that CCP commits media warfare against us. It's okay that CCP, Chinese Communist Party government officials here in the United States enjoying our freedoms while they work to wreck them. You know, everybody can, say Trump was a nut job, yeah, and you can say whatever you want about him, but he was hard. He clamped down on the CCP. Trump told CCP, gravy train is over. You don't see Biden telling them that. Biden's rolling over like a trained seal for the CCP. President Biden, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, State Department spokesman Ned Price, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, good men, love America, but they're weak on China. They're just pathetic. You know, it's just, their weakness is pitiful. Did you see when Anthony Blinken was in Alaska with CCP dictators' representatives? They walked all over Anthony Blinken because Tony's got no backbone. Stop being CCP's doormat, Anthony Blinken. Look, here's another example. This book, I'm not done with Made in China yet, but here's an example of them rolling over like a trained seal for the CCP, which is a threat to USA's national security. It's a threat to every country's national security because President Biden and Blinken and Sullivan and Ned Price, the whole administration, weak on China. You got to get a spine, people. Please get a spine. This book called Unrestricted Warfare. You know that Anthony Blinken and President Biden, they try to put the kibosh on there was a report, there's supposed to be an inquiry, independent investigation inquiry into the Wuhan virus. And then Blinken and Biden put the kibosh on it. Said, we don't need any sort of investigation. Sweep the inquiry under the rug. It's okay, we're going to give the CCP a pass. CCP can create a virus which violates every biological weapons convention rule. Oh, it's okay, let them get away with it. I don't know what Joe Biden's thinking. It's a threat to humanity. CCP's going to release another one, and the next virus the CCP releases is going to be 10 times deadlier. This book, so it's, again, it's called Unrestricted Warfare, written by China's military, and they talk about using gene weapons, using biological agents as new warfare methods. They talk about it. They're not hiding it. They're not scared of you. They're writing about it. They're sticking their thumb in your eye. Global community, CCP's sticking their thumb in their eye, in our eyes, in the global international community's eyes. And then the CCP lies about the virus. First they said virus from Huanan wet market. Well, that was a lie. This Jinping Xi. You see him right there? That's prick of the planet #1. They created that virus. It's been engineered. They write about it. Wake up. Wake up. Our national security's at stake. Humanity's at stake. Wake up. Sorry to yell. It's just, the most important issue today. I mean, over 600,000 Americans lost their lives because of Wuhan virus. OMG. Then people say, you're a racist. I say, Wuhan virus. You're a racist. Not a racist. People call Ebola, that's from, Democratic Republic of Congo's Ebola Valley. People call it Ebola virus. Calling it Wuhan virus has nothing to do with racism. It's just telling you where it's from. And it didn't come from a market. It was genetically engineered at the Wuhan Institute of Virology because Jinping Xi, and I'd like to ask him, how come you dye your hair black? Only person I ever know who dyed their hair black was my grandmother. Anyway, so first Jinping Xi lied when he said virus from a Huanan wet market. Then Jinping Xi lied, and you see I say Jinping Xi because Jinping is his first name and Xi is his last name. That's how the world does it. First name first, last name second. That's how the world does it. So Jinping Xi, China's tyrant, call him Chairman Xi, this time next year, after the 20th Communist Party Congress, October 4th, 2022. That's when Secretary General Jinping Xi becomes Chairman Xi, just like Chairman Mao, because he's going to be unprecedented third term. If he becomes, so there you go, Chairman Mao. That's, by the way, right after the 20th Communist Party Congress is when he goes after Taiwan. That's when China attacks Taiwan. That's when China invades Taiwan after he becomes Chairman Xi. Okay? Back to this book, Unrestricted Warfare. So you have, right after the virus, Jinping Xi made a new rule. Better security at our labs, ASAP. Why would he say this if the virus didn't come from a lab? China's top bioweapons expert, General Wei Chen, she's a lady, General Wei Chen, she rushed to Wuhan. Why'd she go to Wuhan 24 hours after the outbreak? Why? Hello? You know what I'm talking about here? Bat lady. You remember the lady, you seen the images of the woman in her, bubble? That's Bat lady, Bat woman. Zheng Lishi. She said right after the outbreak, told American Scientific Magazine, could the outbreak have come from our lab? China's CDC director, Gao Fu, right after the outbreak said, quote, virus amplified. How much more proof you need? Chinese government officials are telling you what's up. Of course, they have to tell the global community to lie because they don't want to be held responsible, don't want to be held accountable because then they'll get sued. Then the global community will, demand reparations from China for all the damage their virus has caused. Right? So there's a British professor, his name's Angus Dalgleish. He says virus from Wuhan lab. Norwegian scientist Dr. Birger Sorensen, he says virus from Wuhan lab. David Baltimore, renowned virologist David Baltimore says virus from Wuhan lab. What's the other one? Astrophysicist Richard Mueller says virus from Wuhan lab. Australian professor Nikolai Petrovsky says virus from Wuhan lab. 18 senior scientists from around the world saying virus most likely coming from Wuhan lab. How much more proof do you need? Again, so first Jinping, where is he at? There he is. See the one with the dyed black hair? Old man with the dyed black hair. Really a cockroach. See that image? It's a cockroach. The 7 members of the Politburo Standing Committee, 7 cockroaches spreading around the world, infiltrating every country, hurting every country's civil rights, trying to undermine the country's democracy, undermine Vietnam's democratic movement, undermine Cambodia's democratic movement, China undermines Thailand's. Dude, how come right now the junta, who rules Thailand? A junta. Why? CCP supports them. Burma, our beloved Burma. Junta used to have freedom, though Aung San Suu Kyi, the female lady, she was president. Not anymore. Why? Because the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, China's government, supported the junta to overthrow Aung San Suu Kyi. Because Jinping Xi, those 7 cockroaches on the Politburo Standing Committee, they undermined Burma's democracy because the CCP is the enemy of democracy. You all understand? You got to wake up, people. We're under attack. Freedom, love, and world is under attack. All right, so just to wrap this up about unrestricted warfare, we'll go back to Made in China, and then we'll hit this book up, because this book's great. This book's called China's Second Continent. Tells you about Chinese raping every African country. It's sinful. Stealing from the poorest people on earth is despicable. But just to wrap up about unrestricted warfare. Reparations for the world. Guilty. So Jinping Xi said first, virus from Huanan wet market, that was a lie. Then he said virus from Italy, that was a lie. Then he said virus from Spain, that was a lie. Then he said virus from USA, that was a lie. Then he said virus from Australia, of frozen meat being exported from Australia into China. That's how the virus spread in China. That's a lie. Stop believing the CCP's lies. Okay? Real simple. Don't believe anything CCP says. Nothing. If they tell you something's white, it's black. Reparations from China to every person or to every family that lost a loved one because of Wuhan virus. Reparations from China to every company that was forced to close. Reparations from China to every person who lost their job because of Wuhan virus. That's why Congress needs to withdraw China's foreign sovereign immunity. If Biden really had American people's back, he'd get Congress to withdraw China's sovereign immunity so Americans can take China to court, litigate. If China's innocent, make your case to the judge. Got independent judiciary in USA or in any country. There should be do it at the World Court. Do it at the International Court of Permanent Arbitration. What is it? The Permanent Court of Arbitration, PCA. Permanent Court of wherever. As long as the trial is not in China because there's no independent judiciary. The courts are controlled by the Chinese Communist Party government. There's no justice in China. It's only miscarriages of justice, injustice being served by CCP government. Reparations. IMF said that the global community will lose over $22 trillion between 2020 and 2025 because of Wuhan virus. If China was a good country, if the CCP had any sort of conscience, which they don't, but if they had any sort of morals or values, they would cancel the debt of every country, or at least cancel the debt of every developing country, because the Wuhan virus has destroyed these emerging economies. Get back to Made in China. A prisoner, an SOS letter, and the hidden cost of America's cheap goods. So the letter fell out. This lady read it. She was like, whoa. Showed it to her hubby. He got scared. He was like, don't tell nobody. Don't say nothing. Keep your mouth shut. She was like, no way. This is a religious dissident, and he's a victim of forced labor in the Masanjia labor camp. Got to say something. Got to make noise. God bless you, lady. So she did. She went to the, I think it was the local newspaper, or maybe it was the Seattle Times or whatever it is, and hooked up with a reporter. They wrote about it. And now the world finally got to learn about RTL, Reeducation Thru Labor. CCP system is the worst since the Nazis. China model, worst since the Nazis. So this guy's name is Sun Yi, and he was the one who wrote the letter. And wow, real sad story, to be honest with you. Yeah, man, would make a great movie. Oh, man, would make an awesome movie. It's real sad. So if you can, read this book. Go to Barnes & Noble. Don't do Amazon. Amazon's no good. Amazon sells Chinese counterfeit goods, which hurts American manufacturers. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, he's an a-hole. Like this guy behind me. It's another a-hole. And Bill Gates, a-hole, because Bill Gates appeases the CCP. Bill Gates enables the Chinese Communist Party government. Bill Gates enabling the CCP adversary. Like a traitor. So also in this book, they talk about the author, Amelia Pang, went to China. She went to Masanjia or some of the other labor camps. She hung outside, in a car or whatever. And then she followed the trucks with all the goods that were made there to where they were going. Where are those goods going? Went to Apple. You got to read this. Apple. What's his name? Timothy Cook, a-hole, using forced labor to make iPhones. Forced labor to make all the other products. It's not just the actual screen, it's the supply chain. That's the forced labor at Masanjia labor camp. Google it. What is it? M-A-S-A-N-J-I. I think that's Masanjia labor camp. Google it. And then the CCP was like, whoa, man, the global community found out what we're up to. And you know what? Nancy Pelosi has known about this for 25 years, and she's done nothing about it. But anyway, CCP changed the name from RTL to now it's a drug detox center. Drug detox center. Changed the name. Everything's all good. 4 minutes? All right, so let's go to this next book. So please read this book, y'all. Let's go to the last book called China's Second Continent. Oh, man. That's not right, man. You remember Robin Hood? He steals from the rich and gives to the poor? Chinese are stealing from the poor to give to the rich. Chinese companies, CCP companies in Africa, raping every African country's natural resources, their timber, their fish, their minerals. Again, stealing from the poor to give to the rich. Nothing more despicable, nothing more disgusting than that. Chinese stealing Zambia's copper. Chinese stealing Namibia's uranium. Stealing Sierra Leone's titanium. Stealing Senegal's iron deposits. Stealing Chinese. Stealing Mozambique's mahogany wood. Chinese got caught stealing $130 million worth of illegally logged mahogany wood. Have you no shame? And the list goes on and on. How about in Namibia, Chinese companies paying Namibian workers 21 cents an hour, violating violating Namibia's legally established minimum wage laws. Chinese have no right to violate Namibia's or any other country's legally established minimum wage laws. In Gambia, Chinese, what is it? I think the Chinese companies are paying Zambian workers, I think it's $10, what is it, a week? Yeah, you got to read the book. I think it's $10. Yeah, I think it's $10 a day. It's got to be $10 a day, right? Can't, yeah. Anyway, just read the book. Great book. And there's so many other examples of Chinese hurting Africans, Chinese hurting African countries, Chinese putting African textile companies out of business, stealing. I got 1 minute. Stealing. I got 2. Thank you. I got stealing. Gambia's fish. Now Gambia's people got no more fish. How about Gambia's fishermen got no more fish to take to the market so they can make money and put their kids in school? No more fish to feed the family because Chinese stealing their fish. Chinese stealing every African country's fish because the African countries don't have a navy. They can't defend their EEZ, their exclusive economic zone. So Chinese invade, violating UN law of the sea, violating every African country's EEZ, also violates every South American country's EEZ, like Argentina, Ecuador. You got 300 Chinese fishing vessels in, what is that, what's off the coast? Galapagos, sorry about that. Galapagos Islands. Raping Galapagos Islands fish. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you. I got 1 minute, 60 seconds, 50 seconds. Wrap it up. Man, and read, so definitely please read this book, China's Second Continent, so you can see how China's hurting every African country and their people. Where's the outrage? You know, LeBron, Black Lives Matter. African lives don't matter. These are great people. Anyway, so please read China's Second Continent. Definitely read Made in China. Read Unrestricted Warfare. They talk about using gene weapons against us. They're writing about it. All right, so I guess that's about it.